Hello and welcome to Game of Thrones, the finale, Season 4.
4 finale, The Children. I am Oxnard.
I am Dexter.
Boss is here, taking his notes as per usual.
Sipping from his goblet.
There's going to be an interesting
So you just finished watching the finale for the first time.
For the first time. I'm a little speechless.
Your reaction was interesting.
It's a little confusing to me, but I like the episode. But it's definitely solidified that they're taking it in a not new directions, but just changing elements to it where I'm not sure if they're even going to bother with certain story
Well, we're
elements.
going to have a spoiler. You know, now that the finale happened, we're going to have our spoiler follow-up.
We had like our mid-season spoiler episode, and then we've been meaning to do a reaction to that based off all your comments
discuss
there.
all the comments and everything. And now we decided to wait for the finale so that we can see what they do or do not do. And they did not do a lot of stuff that we thought they were going to do. Can you follow me there? And I know that some of the people that responded to our first spoiler video mentioned something. We're not going to talk about it now just because Boss is here.
So for this video, this is non-spoiler. Pretend you've never read the
This is our regular video. We're going to do a spoiler video, which will be coming out after this
is
one.
Purely about the episode, the show on HBO.
Jon Snow.
Basically, the end of last week's episode was Jon Snow walking out, and this week starts off right.
He continues to walk out.
5 seconds after that, he passes the giant who ran after the mammoth who was on fire. Crows are on him. Very sad. Gets to the camp, and what I can only assume was maybe like 15 minutes.
I think he walked like 10 clicks in...
Okay.
I have a feeling that took hours. No, but it was...
I'll assume it took
that's like an hour. He probably just walked for like an hour.
Okay.
That's my guess.
So he was lucky that the first wildling that saw him wasn't just an idiot, crazy guy who just immediately tried to kill him because he has a black cloak on.
Yeah, they basically like followed him in and brought him right up. He walked right up to Mance Raider, who came out and greeted him, and then they...
Suspend your disbelief a little bit, because I imagine Mance might be a little tricky to find, but apparently John picked just the right angle. Beelined it right for Mance.
Basically, Mance is the only one that has a tent.
Yeah.
But regardless, they go inside. They start talking. Jon says he's here to discuss terms. He's been sent here to do that. But meanwhile, he's looking around, surveying the environment inside, and they start talking about the battle. They start talking about the people that they've lost in the battle. They mention Ygritte, they say, and they mention the giant, Gren.
Yes.
They talk about all that, and then they have this drink to like toast them.
It looked like half-eaten cereal milk.
Yeah, it was like chunky fermented milk.
Yeah, and I think the Dothraki would drink something similar. It was like fermented like
horse milk.
Horse milk, yeah, something gross like that.
Because you know what? Well, they don't actually tell you what it is. They just say this is a real northern drink.
Yeah,
so I just imagine that they jerk off
and
you
might be blind after 3 sips.
That's how Maester Aemon lost his sight. I like the northern drink a bit too much, Samwise. You fat nerd.
Samwise. That's Samwise.
Samwise. I get fat people in fantasy mixed up with Samwise.
I think it's a toasted almond. They just make those and put them in.
It's actually like delicious.
Yeah.
Jon Snow is so unused to delicious.
Can I trouble you for some Dasani?
Ooh, yes, White Russian.
Then Jon Snow's looking around. Then somebody's getting some food for them, and he's cutting up some bread or meat or whatever that was. And Jon Snow keeps eyeballing that knife. Yeah. And then they realize, like, oh, that's what he's really here for.
I think they purposely put a knife within reach so they can observe his actions. And then, Mance, he's a smart guy. And he's like, I know that's why you came here. You think we're all gonna like scatter if you kill me, this and that.
Yeah.
Cue the horn. Someone's coming. Bop, bop. He jumps on Jon and he's like,
yeah.
Those are your men coming? He's like, no, I wasn't lying to you. Basically,
he says you were right. We're too few. They were being very honest with one another.
Yeah.
And Mance Raider is saying that they don't want to conquer. We are just horrified up here. We have to get below the wall because we need to be safe. Winter's coming. We're going to be more than dead, he says, like because of the whites. And
do you know how long it was before the last winter? Has it been?
I don't remember the actual number.
Spring on record, or something?
This was the longest. This is one of the longest summers ever. Yeah. I know that, which means it's going to be a horrible winter, like one of the worst winters.
Right.
I can't remember the actual years, like the actual number of years.
Right.
I know that they mentioned that I think in the books, but I can't remember. And they may mention in the show, too.
It's long enough so that the people alive now don't really have
like the
a
kids,
recollection of it.
I'm pretty sure, like Rob even, I think. Like,
Yeah.
and Jon Snow, like, they've never known winter.
Right.
And what are they, 20?
Yeah.
Or something like that? They're in their late teens? Or
In the books, aren't they?
In the
9.
Maybe Jon Snow's a 7-year-old.
I think Jon Snow was 12 or something. But, they age them all up. Stannis comes rolling in with the onion guy, as I call him.
The onion guy, yeah.
Now, this is one thing in the books. I know we weren't going to talk about the books, but now we've reached a point in the show where they're not even going to do this in the show.
Well, Mance Rayder has a baby. He has basically an heir.
Yeah.
There's when Jon Snow first meets him, there's a pregnant woman in Mance Rayder's thing, and Mance Rayder is also much different in the book. He's like there's like a minstrel player in Mance Rayder's tent, and Jon Snow assumes that Mance Rayder's somebody else who looks very nefarious and hard, but he's wrong. It's like this minstrel player, and
that's who Mance was.
And that's who Mance is.
But doesn't Bran and Samwell, don't they meet Stannis? Like, in that part of the story, wasn't Samwell
there is
with Bran, and Bran was helping them get out?
No. There was somebody else, I believe, which has already come up to this point in the books called,
and I just
referred to as Cold Hands.
Well, Stannis' reveal in the book, wasn't it this guy, he had the Baratheon huge stag head?
I can't remember. Maybe. I can't remember. Yeah. I can't remember if they come across that, but I do know that that Stannis comes and basically saves the day.
Right.
When the wall, like during that whole fight, like there's like during that little war, basically.
Yeah, there's no lull in the books.
Not that I remember. I remember that suddenly Stannis comes out of nowhere and basically saves them.
It was very reminiscent of, the Rohirrim in both Helm's Deep and
the last charge of Theoden and everything.
Like just a wave of horses out of nowhere that just, the catastrophe, which Tolkien termed the opposite of a catastrophe. It's like, it's all lost, and like, no, instant victory.
Yeah. Ha-ha, we have victory.
They did it differently here,
No, I don't think anything happened like this.
All right.
And then they basically, a spoiler episode, we'll have to talk about something else that happens. Because, there's a lot of little things in here now with the timeline of when certain events occur to a character.
That's what's confusing me a lot.
It's been confusing me all day, because there's things like, for example, with Jaime, which we'll get into.
I guarantee there's some guy online who made, a chart of where it is in the books compared to the show or something. I'll try and find something like that.
But anyway, what happens here is Stannis, captures Mance Rayder. He asks Jon Snow. Jon Snow reveals that he's Eddard Stark's son, and then he says, "Oh well, what would your father have done with Mance Rayder?" And then Jon Snow says that I was this man's prisoner. He could have tortured me. He could have done anything to me. He didn't. He treated me respectfully, and my father would have taken him in and listened to what he had to say. Then he says, "And if my father saw the things that I've seen, he would tell you to burn the bodies of the dead immediately." And so then they have their little funeral at Castle Black. Maester Aemon says they say all the words. Now their watch is ended and all this stuff. You see Melisandre there looking at Jon Snow through the flames. I thought that was really cool. And then they go and Jon talks to Tormund.
Right.
That was one of my favorite scenes.
Yeah. Well, basically, and also, Davos's plan worked, and hopefully Stannis, you can see now Stannis is like...
It was a big deal. Next season, there's going to be a lot going on now.
Yeah.
Between them. We're going to see a lot of...
There's a big power play by
yeah.
Stannis. Now he's...
Where is... so real quick, I want to wrap them up before we talk about something else, but then Jon Snow takes Ygritte out to be on the wall.
Yeah.
Because Tormund's saying, she loved you, and she deserves to be... in the real north.
I like how he's asking him, how do you guys say your farewells? I don't know about the free folk. And he's like, they're dead. The dead people can't hear us.
Yeah. What would I say?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hi, bye.
You're dead. Sorry. I probably killed you. And then Jon burns her out beyond the wall. But so when they were burning the bodies in Castle Black, where was
the giant?
No, where was Sir Alistair? Because
they didn't show him.
No, they didn't. But is he alive or dead in the show at this point?
Well, if they don't show him dying, I would assume he's alive.
We saw him injured. We saw him pulled into a building at Castle Black. But that's it. why wouldn't he have been out there?
Yeah,
they
I don't
make
understand.
no reference to him at all. I was very confused.
One little
by that.
thing that all they had to do was show him real quick, like with a bandage, like over his nose or something. Like,
is he dead? Is he dying? Or just say like how Sir Alistair, recovering or not doing well, or
something.
You know what I mean? He's
when
or Maester Aemon's tending to him now.
When I started up the episode on demand, it said the episode's an hour and 16 minutes. So I was like, oh man, this is going to be jam packed. That's why by the end of it, I was like, there's so much. It seems like there were a lot of shots that lingered on and on, especially with Bran stuff, like when they're approaching the tree and stuff like that. And I understand it's dramatic, but you can cut out like a few seconds here, a few seconds there, and trim it down to put in like some final notes because we have to wait so long now for the next season.
Well, let's talk about let's move on into the Bran stuff because
it has to do with the North.
It has to do with the North, and you just mentioned he segued into that there.
Nice segue.
Good job.
You like that?
Oxnard with the segue.
It's ruined when I mentioned that it was a segue,
now it's not smooth at all. Now I don't even remember what the hell we were going to talk about. Damn it. So anyway, Tyrion.
Hodor's pulling a sled.
Yeah.
Prince Bran is there. I call him Prince Bran.
Prince Bran? Prince Broke Legs.
Jojen. What's her name? Delilah?
Mira, I think?
Mira.
Delilah. Jojen and Daisy.
Basically, they find the tree in Bran's visions. That's it.
They're there. They made it. They're like, all right, let's do this. Let's head for it. And then all of a sudden, Skeleton Hand reaches up and grabs Jojen.
Thumbs up!
It's like, congratulations! Time to die! And then Jojen's extremely weak because...
Very weak.
We saw in that other last episode, we saw them when they were at Craster's Keep. He was seizing up and foaming at the mouth and everything. He's not doing well.
Yeah, he has a fever, which I think the coldness helps with the fever, but at the end of the day, he's not
should
doing good.
be walking around. He should take some of those layers off.
Yeah. Take a Tylenol or two.
Yeah.
Don't want to sweat in the cold, man. Anyway,
so
zombie attack. We discussed a zombie attack with Hodor once before. I believe it was last season's finale discussion. I animated it, remember? Hodor goes crazy with a knife.
Awesome.
So we kind of got that, which I was happy about. You said you didn't really like the way those zombies looked?
So I liked the scene, but then when I was thinking about it, when I saw it a second time, I was like, it was borderline hokey for me.
A little cheesy?
Yeah, I just was like, it was a little too Pirates of the Caribbean for me.
I like them.
Okay, well, that's that then. I'm wrong.
It definitely had that...
Thanks.
I don't know what... Well, before you got
here... I
liked
it, don't get me wrong. I just was kind of... I wish they had more flesh on them, you know?
Yeah, so it has...
They looked a little less cheesy to me.
Right,
but
right.
What really creeped me out was when that one... Jojen was just laying there, and the one headless skeleton is just robotically stabbing him.
Yeah, and
that was
kind of staring
really
at it.
Disturbing.
Like he was confused
He's just
by
like,
it?
And the thing just robotically... That kind of terrified me. Because if I just, like, imagine... That's like a nightmare I would have where it's like you can't move... You know what I mean? Like, you know, and then something is just doing it. That's really fucking freaky.
Yeah.
So anyway, then
Bran wargs into Hodor, starts flipping people over
by the eye sockets.
Yeah. Bran apparently knows how to fight pretty well. If he had legs, he'd be doing pretty good.
Especially playing a video game.
Yeah. That's it. This is Avatar.
Yeah.
James Cameron is about to sue. I don't know where you see.
Oh my god.
And apparently there's this little girl there, which it's weird because I'm right at kind of that part in dance, so I need to get past that part. Little girl. So I'm just going to say what I saw.
Okay.
Little girl there. I can't tell if she was throwing something that was magically imbued or if she's actually casting like a fireball spell. They escape. They run into this cave. There's this old guy wrapped up in twigs.
Well, the skeletons burst apart when they try and follow them into the cave under the tree.
Yeah.
And then, okay, go ahead.
He says it's the three-eyed raven. And he says, Jojen. He says like Jojen knew he was going to die. His whole point of him was to bring you here because I've been watching you, Bran, and I have 1,000 other eyes. He apparently this guy knows everything that's going on in Westeros. It's a big reveal.
He's like, welcome. May I offer you some bagel bites? And I have juice boxes for everybody.
You're going to eat them. I see it in the future.
Yeah. I saw that you would be slightly hungry when you arrived. Bit peckish. I have procured some snacks.
And cold. How did I know that,
He's all seeing.
Yes. Aha! 1,000 eyes in one. That's how. Would you care for some Chex Mix?
He's all seeing, but all he does is like little tiny menial things.
It's basically he just runs a convenience store.
It's really a con artist.
Blue light special.
Bran, oh, look at this. Would you like a taquito?
Taquito. The little girl, she says, like, we are the children. We've been alive.
The first men called them the children, but they've been there since before them.
Right.
And it's basically like an adult woman's voice for this little...
Yeah, was it?
This little
it was
girl
weird.
actor. Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
That's why you can tell like that the voice is ADR'd, and like then what they do is they have her, like her behind roots as they are entering the cave, so you can see the mouth moving. It's just ever so slightly different. I felt like, well, that's not a complaint. I'm just saying that's definitely what they did.
Okay.
Yeah, and then they go in, and in the book when Bran reaches that moment, I imagine the guy, because when I saw the guy, he's just kind of like sitting in some roots. From what I was able to see, and I imagine in the book a much more disturbing image of like a guy who is basically like
the roots are like going through.
Half of him is like, you can't tell, like part of his like body would just end and become tree and like roots, and they're like going in and out of him, and like his face is like half stuck in the tree, and like you know what I mean. Like I just imagine a much more intricate thing.
That you get that from thorns. It's a fungal infection. It's gross.
Oh yeah,
that's what happened to him. I'm pretty sure.
He's like 50 years old. He's been stuck there for like a couple of months.
There's a character in Fallout, actually, that's like that. He's like a radioactive tree person. It's kind of like that, like the tree and plants have grown into him or something.
He'd break his finger on a thorn, too.
That would have been cool.
Did you see... Now, one of the things that this made me think of, were you the one that sent me this article about the guy who made the connections, like... where all the events, this world takes place. It's the same world, and these events take place years after Lord of the Rings.
Oh yeah.
And like the children of the first men, they're actually like hobbits, and then like the Ents.
Yeah.
With the wirewood trees, and there's like several other connections that are made.
Yeah, he was trying to make the connect because it's the same kind of placement. Like,
but then you have like further west, you have like the mysterious. Land that nobody, like even knows, like, and it just was, it's just gone.
Yeah.
So I mean, like, was that that was like the Grey Havens?
He was explaining that, then the Narrow Sea was like flooded, and then hobbits migrated north, and he was explaining how the elves, they're all gone. It's
all
the
this
Age
stuff,
of Men. He made some connections.
It was really interesting. Yeah, people should look it up. But that's what I was thinking of when I saw that scene with the children of the first men and everything. So anyway. They keep on saying, "Oh, Jojen, but poor Jojen." The guy's like, "Look, forget about Jojen already. He's dead. He wanted knew this it was going to happen, so it's okay.
Yeah,
I don't want to hear any more about this guy." And then he's like,
"She firebombs him."
Yeah. You know what? The guy's like, "You know what? This was a mistake.
No,
I think you should turn around and leave."
That was to just get rid of any speculation of like, "Oh, you think Jojen survived? Let's make sure they don't make any of that speculation." He throws a bomb.
Well, she cuts his throat too.
I thought she was doing it so he didn't turn into a wife.
That's why she did it. That's why she did it. Yeah, because his sister kills him so that he won't be. Mutilated or whatever, and attacked more by the Pirates of the Caribbean skeletons. And
so I think what's going to happen with Bran now is he's going to be there probably for the rest of the show's history, and he's just going to be seeing the world, and he's going to like become the next guy who's tied up in the tree or something. That's my prediction.
What a great life he has ahead of him.
He gets to see everything.
Yeah. But then they say no. He died bringing you here so you could get back what you lost. And then Bran's like, "Oh boy, I'm gonna walk again." And the guy's like, "Nope,
no,
but you will fly." But not probably how he's thinking.
Yeah, the three-eyed raven. He's just gonna
exactly
fly.
Yeah. So then moving on.
North?
I think that's basically it. I think we essentially covered everything.
Want to head on down to King's Landing?
Yeah, going south.